Dr. Meer today. We're going to be debunking some myths around the coronavirus. We know there's been a lot of mass hysteria worldwide around the coronavirus since it was first discovered in Wuhan, China in December 2019. Now lately we've had a lot of media coverage, including in the Gold Coast Bulletin today. Laura Nelson has done a great page 7 story. We've had Channel 7 here, Channel 9 yesterday, Gold FM, Breeze FM, Rebel FM. A lot of media now are starting to look at how fear of coronavirus is making people sick. Hello, Dr. Meer.
Hello, how are you?
Great, thank you. Now, you're an expert with this. Of course, you've seen a lot of patients on the Gold Coast. So can you share a little bit about what you've been noticing in the last 3 months?
Yeah, so I've seen about 2,000 patients over the last 3 months present to clinic with concern about coronavirus. 60% of them have presented with flu-like symptoms, but since seeing those people, not one of them, to my knowledge, has actually been diagnosed with COVID-19. Yeah, but they are coming in with a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic, a lot of fear, and it's really making them sick. Yeah.
And people don't realise how negative fear can be. It's actually proven, research has shown that negativity and fear can actually affect people's mental health. So how does that work on a scientific point of view?
So when we've all felt fear, we've all felt anxiety, and when we feel anxiety, we get a nervous feeling, we get a feeling of something's not right. And that feeling that we get is as a result of the release of neurochemicals or brain fuel in the brain, which makes us feel that way. So there's a physiological response to it. So increase in blood pressure, increase in pulse, rapid breathing, shallow breathing. And once you get these neurochemicals being released, it does have a whole host of detrimental effects on the body, which can reduce your immunity over time, reduce your depth of sleep, change your eating habits, and so on.
I love the saying there's 2 places we can come from in life. There's love or there's fear.
That's right, yes.
All right, so coming from a loving space, and anyone who knows Dr. Emoto's work with water, the power of water and the power of our thoughts and what that can do to our bodies, because we're 70% water, right?
Right, absolutely, 100%. We are, majority of us are water. Water is a liquid medium, and it is susceptible to changing as a result of the sound that's applied to it. So certain words that we hear can trigger certain feelings and emotions. And the word fear, panic, disease, illness, death, that just sets off alarm bells. And not only me, everyone, and us as a collective will eventually lead to a frequency that isn't really good for us, and that's what we're putting off. We're putting off a frequency of fear, and I think that's something that we have to really look at and try and change sooner than later.
It's fascinating with Dr. Emoto's work, where they looked at the molecular structure of water and how it reacted when they had jars of water and they put labels on it, fear, anger, guilt, and the molecular structure of the water actually changed, which if we're 70% water in our bodies, then we are affecting our bodies on such a mass scale. I
had the privilege of looking at those experiments on a closer level when I went to Japan and saw it firsthand, and it is the real thing. It is something that is simple, but very, very effective in incorporating into our daily lives. So the words that we choose to use, the feelings or the intention that we have during certain periods of time, all has an impact on how we portray ourselves in the community, as well as how we feel from the inside.
Something I'm really passionate about is getting more good news stories in the mass media. And we know lately there's been a lot of bad news around the whole coronavirus. Now, some people are saying it's really not that much worse than the common flu. So what's your take on that?
So the coronavirus is a form of a flu. It presents a little bit differently than the regular flu. So the coronavirus has been presenting with dry cough, weakness, fever, body aches, and in severe cases, shortness of breath. If you do have the shortness of breath part of things, be really mindful and seek urgent medical attention as soon as you can. And particularly for the elderly people and the people who are immunosuppressed because they're on chemotherapy and whatnot, those people have to be really cautious and careful about the symptoms that they have. But coronavirus has shown to resolve in 80% of cases with no major medical intervention, and they're telling us to isolate ourselves. And self-isolation with no further need for medical intervention after the 2-week period, you're expected to get better in 80% of the cases. So that means that if we self-isolate, then we do it effectively, then we can actually come out of this really good. But again, isolation is a very uncertain term. What does it mean to isolate? You know, when people think of isolation, we think of, you know, closing ourselves in a dark room, being scared, almost like a prison sort of situation. And that's not necessary. Isolation could also mean that you're by yourself, which might be good. You can be outside, you can be getting a lot of sunshine, and really taking care of yourself in that sense. So there's a lot of different things that we can do to really boost our immunity and reduce our chance of getting ill, and also to get better quickly.
What are some of the things we can do to build our immunity?
So something simple that I've noticed that people aren't doing is they're not breathing deeply. Most people have been coming in, again, breathing very shallow, breathing very rapidly, especially the elderly people. And so one simple thing you can do is just be mindful of your breath, because the faster you breathe, the more shallow you're going to breathe. And if you're breathing shallow, you're not getting rid of the carbon dioxide, you're not bringing enough oxygen. That puts the body into fight-flight state, releasing those neurochemicals that we talked about earlier. So making sure you breathe deeply, and as you breathe deeply and you breathe slower, you'll notice your body will start to relax, you'll loosen up. So most people are coming in rigid and scared and breathing shallow. Again, that's lactic acid that causes muscle inflammation, bodily inflammation. So if we learn to just be mindful of our breath, take a deep breath, and relax, then you notice your body will loosen up, you start feeling more limber, and you'll be able to move a lot easier and clear that lactic acid out of your body. Another thing to do to help is making sure you hydrate with really good quality water. Filtered water particularly, there's different types of filtered water you can try, but make sure your water is clean and it's good quality. Because what that will help you to do, it will help to clear out all those inflammatory substances in your body and allow your muscles to move around and reduce that lactic acid that we have so much problem with, which causes pain and signals the body again into a fight-flight state. So that's something that we can do. Things like sleep, making sure you get 8 hours of really good quality deep sleep. And there's many things you can do to help your sleep. Number one is turning off all technology and calming your mind, doing some deep breathing exercises prior to bed, making your bedroom a place of rest, a place of rejuvenation, making sure the room is dark. You can use those sleep pillows on your eyes, you can use earplugs if you need to, but really make sure that you're getting enough deep quality sleep, and making sure you're comfortable. You have a really good comfortable bed, because a lot of people are falling asleep on the couch, falling asleep sitting up, watching TV, which is not a good thing. Making sure you really sleep in a comfortable bed, good quality, good temperature, dark room, noise reduction, and just falling into sleep really easily that way. A lot of people are drinking too much coffee. I recommend not taking enough coffee after noon. You might be able to have one, but coffee is also shown to boost anxiety and reduce the depth of sleep as well. So that's something that people can incorporate into their daily lives.
And particularly instant coffee has a lot of pesticides in it, right? Which a lot of people are not aware of. But a little bit of black coffee is okay, right? If you have pure coffee, pure black coffee, maybe 1 cup. I have 1 cup a day. So confession, I like my coffee.
Well, coffee is good for many reasons. Number one, it can boost mental clarity. It can boost your metabolism and also get you into the focused state for work. But sometimes because people are drinking so much coffee and it's such a culture that they'll drink too much coffee, and you'll actually start to see a drop off in the benefits because excessive amounts of coffee will lead to a flood of those neurochemicals that we talked about, and when you run out, you need more. And the only time you get them is when you sleep deeply. So if you're using them up during the day because you're drinking too much coffee and you're anxious and you're on the go, then having too much coffee will reduce your depth of sleep, and then you're not going to get restoration of them and recharge. So then in the morning you wake up, you feel tired, and you want to have another coffee because you feel tired. But it all starts often, I've seen, with coffee, too much coffee. Coffee is also very acidic to the gut as well. We create acid in the stomach as a result of the anxiety, and the stomach, interestingly enough, and the gut actually helps when you get into deep sleep. Gut health is very, very important when it comes to overall health, and that's something that people should be very, very conscious and mindful of, is making sure their gut health is optimal, and that gets us into the nutrition part of things. Nutrition is extremely important when it comes to making sure you are healthy, happy, and strong, and making sure you eat lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, especially during this time with the stress and anxiety, things with vitamin C in it, because it'll really reduce your inflammation and allow healing. So that's another thing that people can do, is making sure they eat really, really well. Yeah.
Fresh fruits and vegetables.
Fresh fruits and vegetables, yes, that's right.
Organic, ideally.
Yeah.
Because when you cook your food, that also reduces the nutritional quality of the food, right?
Yeah. So we have this Gold Coast Bulletin article that was released today, and it talks about just those things. There's a doctor here, Dr. Paul Payton, who is trained in integrative medicine, such as myself, and he recommends zinc, echinacea, andrographis, and probiotics to improve immunity. Also vitamin C, and you can take vitamin C daily in a supplement form, or you can get a little bit more vitamin C by actually going for IV vitamins, and there's a few places you can go to get that, which is really shown to really help people through times of illness.
Now, orange has vitamin C too, if you have an orange, right? What other fruits and vegetables have vitamin C?
So there's tomatoes, just tangy fruits, lemons, limes, and,
Okay.
most fruits have a good amount of vitamin C. I think oranges are the best though, but yeah.
That's a really good point. And just back to the breathing. Now, there's lots of different ways we can breathe. And when you look at babies, they breathe from the diaphragm,
That's right,
which
yeah.
is proper breathing, and that's how people sing as well. How people sing from the diaphragm. Great singers always sing and breathe from that space. And I don't know where things change for human beings, where we went from breathing naturally from the diaphragm to the chest. So what's a technique maybe you can share with us now and our viewers? Something they can do to get conscious, and maybe an exercise we can go through now for breathing?
Yes, well breathing, absolutely, breathing is number one for us, and breathing from the diaphragm is the way to breathe, but because, as we said, we're on the run, we're anxious, and so we breathe shallow. So one of the simple things, number one, is just be mindful of your breath. Be mindful. Make a mental note of how you're breathing. Find out where you're going wrong, and that is, again, making sure you get a good position. Positioning is extremely important. So you keep your feet grounded to the floor or the ground. Keep your back straight. Keep your hands open so there's no tension. Let your shoulders loose. Keep your neck straight. You can close your eyes. You can keep your eyes open. It's up to you. But just be mindful of your breath, and you can start off by making your inhalation equal to your exhalation. So if you breathe in for 3, breathe out for 3. Breathe in for 3, and out for 3. Letting all that carbon dioxide out and letting fresh air, oxygen in. And as you breathe in, take it in, deep breath, and out, and feel your body relax as you breathe out. And doing that for a little, for a few minutes will really get you in contact with how you were breathing before. And then you can do the other techniques such as box breathing and a whole bunch of other ones, and breath work, and there's different various forms of it. But box breathing is extremely effective because it allows pauses in the breathing, which again, pauses reduce the anxiety, they reduce the fight-flight sympathetic response, they boost the parasympathetic relaxation response. And so box breathing has been used by athletes and the Navy SEALs and so on, and they do that regularly. They incorporate that into their lives. It's almost automatic. So I found, since doing box breathing myself, I have really been able to really get more in touch with my physical body. And when we get in touch with our physical bodies and reintegrate or reacquaint with the mind-body connection, we can turn the mind off a lot easier than if we're always in the head. I find that people, when they come in anxious, they tend to be numb in the body and they're not aware of what their body is doing. And so that's one thing that I really work on with my patients, and I get them back in touch with their bodies. Because again, the brain is connected to the body, and we pretend like this isn't connected to this. And I think that's a really simple, effective way of getting back in touch. And once we do connect, we are able to give ourselves space away from this. And so space is really important. That's why box breathing is good. So box breathing, again, you find a really comfortable position. You keep your hands open, your feet to the ground or the floor, your back straight, your neck straight, shoulders loose, and breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. And out for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. And in for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Out for 4 seconds. And just do that. Feel the silence and the space in your body as we do that. Really allow yourself to get into that relaxed, spacious state. Things might be going through your mind at this time or when you do it. Again, just allow the thoughts to come and go. Don't act on them, don't follow them. And that takes us into the meditation component of this. Because this is essentially how easy meditation is. This is how easy it can be. Initially, you might be finding that when you do start to do this breathing, it might feel a little bit, if you've never done it before, it might feel a little bit different, it might feel a little bit off. But as you do it, the more you do it, and the more you get in touch with your body, the less you'll be in your head, and the more you'll be able to just settle into it. And you won't have the noise. And it will really boost your immunity and really boost regeneration, and probably end up noticing that your life will change, definitely. And meditation is one of those things that has been a hot topic for the last year, and it's only going to get more and more popular. So there's lots of things you can look at online about this. You can also look at the Meer Method Healing page on Facebook, where you can see what we're doing in the methods that we've created to fully give you full control over your immunity and full control over your regenerative ability. We cover many different things in it, which incorporates a lot of scientific breakthroughs, a lot of clinical intuition, a lot of clinical knowledge, and that's something you can look at when you have a chance. But again, it doesn't have to be complicated. These are simple measures that every person, young, old, rich, poor, can incorporate into their daily lives during this time period. And that takes us to also things like things that we know aren't good for us, like smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol. That's just adding fuel to the fire. And we have to be really aware that when we do go down that path of feeding, putting toxins into our body for pleasure, or because we're dealing with pain and we want to numb it out, that just masks everything and makes it worse. And recovery from those things isn't good. And if your body's too busy recovering from a night of drinking or a day of smoking, then you're going to really be at a disadvantage when it comes to fighting illnesses like COVID-19. So be aware that these things aren't there to help you in any way. They're making things worse. Yeah.
Wow, I feel so relaxed after that breathing.
Yeah, I do too.
That is so good.
I do too. That was good. That was really good. I needed that. I didn't do that all morning. See, I too am guilty of not doing enough. And I want to take this opportunity to say that, you know, we're all human. We all have issues. Life's not meant to be easy. But if we don't do the work and get in touch with who we are and what we're capable of, then I don't think we're going to grow as a collective. And I think this is a time that has been given to us, all of us, every single person around the world, has been given to us as a disconnect time, a time of healing, a time to connect with one another, kind of time to connect with ourselves, do things that are meaningful. They're meaningful, you know, meaningful connections and meaningful things, you know, and you know, if you're at home and you have people around, you have your family around because you guys are self-isolating, then spend time with them. You know, talk about things you never talked about. Maybe play some board games. Maybe you know, play a game of charades or something. Just reconnect with the people around you, because people in our lives are what gives us meaning. Joy is what gives us meaning. And you'll notice that this will also, if you take the time, this could be a time of regeneration as well. Because when we wake up from this coronavirus thing, the world is going to be a very, very different place. It's going to be a very different place. And, you know, be kind to yourselves, be kind to one another, help as much as you can, take the time away from the crazy social media world, check in regularly with people, that's fine, but don't let it take your life over. Eat very healthy, make sure you breathe very well, as we just discussed, make sure you sleep really well, make sure you hydrate really well, make sure you do the things that are good for you, and you'll know if something is good for you. If you do something that's bad for you, you'll know it's bad for you. So just do the things that you know are good for you. Do the things that you know are good for other people, and let's just stop with this anxiety and stop with this fear. Okay?
Sunshine is great.
Sunshine is sunshine. Obviously, sunshine. Yeah, don't isolate in a dark room.
Yeah.
Go outside. Take the fresh air in. You know, ground your feet into the earth.
And don't be afraid to hug those that you love if they haven't got symptoms, right?
Yeah, so did we talk about the hugging part of it, or was that the last time?
We talked about it here.
So the hugging, is a little bit of a gray area. Let me be clear on the hugging. Now hugging, I know we're supposed to self-isolate, but if you've isolated for the 2 weeks and you're not showing signs and symptoms of coronavirus and you're fine, then it's okay to hug somebody else who's gone through that period. Hugging makes us feel good, makes us connect with one another. It has scientifically shown to boost immunity, reduce pain, and reduce physiological responses like blood pressure and heart rate. And you know, I love getting hugs. Don't you love getting hugs?
I love hugs.
Yeah, and I think if we don't hug one another and we pretend like we're all diseased, it's gonna really have an impact on our dignity. It's gonna have an impact on our acceptance, and I don't think that's such a good idea. I think we all have to reconnect, but obviously in a safe way. So, you know, if you're elderly over the age of 65, you have chronic disease, it's chronic end-stage disease, or you're immunosuppressed because you're on chemotherapy, or, you know, you'll know if you're sick, and if you're showing signs and symptoms, by all means, stay alone. But if you're not, then don't self-isolate. It's not hard. You know, right now we're going through that period of time where it's that 2 weeks, and everybody keeps talking about 2 weeks. But again, you know, just using simple things and common sense will get us a long, long way. And we're all guilty of not using our common sense, myself included. So if you guys want to keep this conversation going, please check out Meer Method Healing, and you'll find a whole world of like-minded people talking about things that will really help us get to the next level as a collective.
And things like floats are fantastic too.
Oh, flotation therapy, yes.
Yeah. So
I've been involved in, you know, I've worked in various different modalities since starting my practice. I've worked in ran a hyperbaric oxygen center and flotation therapy center, and did a lot of training in IV medicines and stem cells, and that's a key part of what we do at the Meer Method. That's what we're really experienced in. We're going to be incorporating all those skills and all those techniques into a really good rounded program for everyone, so that we can all up level and regenerate together. And so there's going to be some really exciting stuff on there. We have a great team of people who are really passionate, really experienced on all the stuff that works, research worthy, scientifically proven. So check us out. We'd love to have you, and yeah, thank you so much. This is good. I think the world really needs this right now, and thank you for sharing this with me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing this with us.
Private group.
Thank you, Dr. Meer.
Private group.
Private group as well.
And the private group, yes. So please add yourself to the Meer Method private group, and let's explore. Let's have fun.
Fantastic. Dr. Meer from Canada, thank you so much for
My
being
pleasure,
with
my
us,
pleasure.
practicing on the Gold Coast for the last few years, and it's so great to hear these messages of hope and connection, which is what the world needs so much right now. So thank you so much for what you do, and for the Meer Method Healing, which I'm going to go over and check it out.
Oh, Meer Method, by the way, is not just my name. Meer Method stands for Meer Mitochondrial Energy Experience and Regeneration.
Thank you, Dr. Meer.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Bye.
The world needs more of this. Share the love if you're watching
Share
this
the
and you
love.
enjoyed
Share
it.
the love.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.